bear. Like I said, his first priority when we get here is to go and mark that area. I'm assuming that's because of the other animal activity. Doing some marking over here. We've got the coyotes on camera doing marking over here. So I'm just checking this real quick, and we have yet another domestic cat, or maybe it's a feral cat, but it came obviously from domesticated cats. So cats are doing just fine out here. I dare say this cat's camouflage sucks. Oh my god, 2. What the hell's happening? So as long as I've got all this cat and coyote footage, there's something I've been wanting to talk about. You hear people demonizing coyotes pretty often, and if you try to defend them, they'll say, well, you'll sound different when they kill your pet. And you hear about coyotes going into neighborhoods and I guess killing cats and even dogs sometimes. Now, what is it about cats in neighborhoods versus cats out here? Because the cats out here seem to survive just fine. You'd think that they would come into the contact with coyotes more often than your domesticated cats. So are the cats in neighborhoods dying because we have taken away their instincts for survival? Is it because they have fewer options for how to escape? But if you look at my footage, like, the coyotes are arriving right after the cats have gotten there. It's not like it's a long period of time in between, and sometimes I've even seen the cats return after the coyotes. So clearly cats have the capability of evading the coyotes, especially since I've seen the same cats for a long period of time. I've been seeing these cats on the trail cams since I started these mercy missions over the summer, back in July, and I'm seeing different cats. I saw one really short-haired, interesting patterned one, almost looked like an ocelot, and that one appeared several times over the summer and then appeared again somewhat recently, and now I'm seeing a bunch of other cats on there. So cats are clearly able to survive out here despite the coyotes. What do you think the chances are that those cats are coming from a house and just having a little daytime adventure and then go back home somewhere? I don't know where they hide. Not exactly very wild looking cats either, were they? Makes me wonder if they weren't dumped and now they're just surviving. I gotta give cats credit. I mean, they are pretty impressive survivors. I know we do messed up things like declaw cats so that they can be indoor cats, and then people get rid of them anyway and they have to become outdoor cats and they have to survive without their claws. It all goes back to human population, because pets come with humans, and with humans comes negligent ownership as well as abandonment. Look at how well he blends in. Yeah, I think you guys are doing a little too well out here. In just the last couple of days checking my footage, I've got to say that the amount of cats I'm seeing is actually disturbing. And I'm seeing them day and night, and a lot of different ones. And the reason I say it's disturbing is that, well, there are no natural cats here. Which means that the habitat never intended for there to be this sort of a predator, unless they had bobcats a long time ago, which we killed off quite some time ago. And so this isn't a predator replacement situation. The cats aren't fulfilling a role that needed to be filled, and there are only so many birds. There are only so many rodents out here, and if there are this many cats, you gotta be a little bit concerned about an imbalance. This is the location of what, at least for a while, became a cat feeding station that members of this community created. And they would put dishes here for the cat, and then they either built that box or converted an actual bird box and wrote all over it that you should put your donations for the cat here. Now that's gonna divide people, whether or not that's a kind, thoughtful, and great thing to do, or if it's a environmentally destructive thing to do. This location is a good mile from where I film most of the Mercy Mission episodes. The point in telling you that is to show the range of these feral cats. Now, should I take some blame for that? The reason I'm asking is I am putting food out and cats are eating that food. Am I significantly promoting the survival and presence of these cats? And I'm interested in what you think, because I've certainly questioned it myself. I don't want to. Well, that's why I showed you that cat box. It's like some people will think that that's great. Some people actually created a little cat feeding sanctuary, while others would be like, wait a minute, what you're doing here is wrong. My question is, did cats suddenly appear because I started putting food out, or have these cats been doing this and then found the food? And the sheer numbers of them, that's really what's starting to make me concerned. How many of these cats were dumped? How many of these cats have been here for a long time and are so successful they've actually reproduced? How many of them actually go home at the end of the day? How many of them are just house cats that go and have a good time hunting out in the creek, fulfilling those instincts that are still in them deep down? Cats are incredible hunters, and that's one of the reasons that I'm fairly concerned about the amount of impact they're able to have on the already dwindling amount of wildlife we have. We have very few raptors, but I would say that smaller birds and rodents are an important food source for raptors. I would say that small mammals and even small reptiles are an important food source for creatures like coyotes. The question I'm slowly working up to is, how would you feel about trapping these cats and removing them? Again, I go back to the extreme range of mindsets on this, that some people put up stations for the cats. I'd be tempted to report the cats, except that I'm worried that they'll come out and trap the wrong animals, or just be like clearing house, because the community here is not very friendly towards wildlife, even though the wildlife are supposed to be in this creek area. That brings us to a topic of speciesism and the way that people would feel about seeing cats trapped or cats euthanized compared to seeing the same thing done to a coyote. Unlike these cats, the coyotes are actually supposed to be here. The coyotes actually play a historical role in balancing out this ecosystem. That doesn't change the fact that most, I dare say most, maybe I'm not quite right on that, but I'm going to go out on a limb. I'd put the money on that most people aren't that comfortable with coyotes and are more comfortable with cats, because they aren't looking at it from an ecological perspective. They're looking at it as a, I'm afraid of nature perspective, and I'm familiar with cats. So, yet another question that I would actually like you to answer in the comments. What's your feeling? What's your attitude toward cats out in the wild compared to coyotes out in the wild? And of course, when I say the wild, I mean the thin strip of habitat that they have wedged between all the human communities. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation, because how many people would care about what coyotes are doing miles and miles and miles away from them? Next question for you to consider: what do you think the city the municipality should do about the feral cat situation or house cat situation as it pertains to them entering into wildlife habitat. What do you think I should do? Do you think I should get hands-on? Do you think I should just back out entirely? Meaning, do you think that I'm perpetuating the issue in a significant manner? So I've got a lot of questions for you to answer in this episode. And don't forget to provide your theory on why these cats seem to be so successful, why the coyotes don't seem to be able to snatch them up as a meal. Yet in urban neighborhoods, they do seem to be able to. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy these episodes, click subscribe, click like. It does help. See you next time. I got to throw in one more thought regarding it being my fault that these cats are showing up. That would mean that well-fed cats with a home are so motivated to eat the particular food I'm putting out that they leave the safety of their homes and they leave a home that's already giving them food just to come out here and get a taste of this stuff. I mean, when you put it like that, it seems unlikely. My guess is that these cats are living out here, but on the other hand, they look like they're doing really well.